I'm the Executive Director of the Francine LeFrak Foundation and the Same Sky Foundation. And thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's wonderful to see so many people here who want to learn about how to empower women and who value the things that we at the foundations value. So thank you. You know, many of you are familiar with Same Sky as an organization, as a trade initiative, but you may not be as familiar with the Same Sky Foundation and what we've done. Every purchase that has been made, every gift that has been made, has directly gone into the Same Sky Foundation, which has allowed us to educate many, many young people in Rwanda. Young girls who want to study a STEM program go to the Fawe School, which is a specialized school. And now those young women have graduated. And with the help of the foundation, they're going to college. And they're studying things like engineering, ophthalmology, anesthesiology, nursing. Some are going into photography. But all of them are doing it because of the Same Sky Foundation and because of all of you and the impact you have had by purchasing a piece of jewelry or making a gift to the foundation. And all of these young people are planning to go back to Rwanda to really influence the community moving forward. But we've gone beyond that. And we've invested as a foundation side by side with organizations like Indigo Africa, who's gone in and trained our artisans on how to weave beautiful baskets. And we have some of those baskets here tonight that they've made, and they can source all the materials for those baskets locally, which is wonderful for them, and they've learned business skills, so now they're entrepreneurs. And we're investing locally in Alabama with another organization to train local artisans and to help them become self-sustaining. So the foundation really has a far-reaching multiplier effect. And again, it's because of the generosity of the people in this room and many others that we've been able to do it. But you know, none of this would have been possible without each one of us being inspired and feeling empowered to figure out a way to make a difference. And you couldn't feel empowered without the right visionary at the helm. And that visionary is Francine LeFrak.
Yes.
So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Francine LeFrak, our founder and the visionary behind all of this. And if anyone is interested in learning more about the foundation, I'm here tonight. I'm happy to talk to anybody about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. And thank you everyone for coming, especially Mindy Grossman, who's going to speak to us very, very soon. So I would like to thank Chris Buckner and the entire team of Jonathan Adler. Let's give them a round of applause. I believe they're giving a discount of 25% tonight. And I'd also like to thank some of the co-hosts. Rick Friedberg, as you must know, is my husband. Sharon Teleska-Fura, Grace Lee, Katie Wynn, Joanne Podell, and Lauren Wackler. And everyone should come step forward. And I'd like to also acknowledge some of the Same Sky ambassadors here, Claudia Walters, and I don't know if I see, Kim Ritzalara. Thank you for coming. As most of you know, I started Same Sky more than a decade ago because I believe the greatest philanthropy is a job, not a handout. And I wanted to create opportunities for women and their kids and provide them scholarships and provide them a way to make a living. And as I said, the greatest philanthropy is a job. And I believe the talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. And I believe strongly that talent is everywhere. Think about it for a second. Because we grew up in America thinking we're so talented, and maybe the people outside of America aren't as talented. But when I saw what these women were able to do with their hands, and I see some bracelets right there, that they were able to crochet and do things with their hands that were so remarkable, I was so inspired by them. And I was just very blessed. You know, my background is as a producer, and I wanted to use my producing skills to help them, to help their lives get to a better place. And what better way than to give them a job? So they started making jewelry, and I saw their lives transform, and I saw that some of them even became entrepreneurs. One of them started a potato business, Asante Jacqueline, and one of them started a coal business, and one of them sold household goods, and they became entrepreneurs in their own community. And the greatest part about it is they became safer. They had status in their community and self-esteem, and they became, the UN estimates that women with jobs are much safer than those without. And these became women of means, so they moved away from government housing and they got their own housing. And their children got to sleep on mattresses. Imagine that, sleeping on a mattress, something we so take for granted. That was such a big deal to these women. Anyway, they never stopped inspiring me. And, you know, I want to just tell you a story, and sometimes I tell it, but when my mother died, and remember, I've been working with these women for more than 10 years, but my mother died 6 years ago, and a friend of mine went to Rwanda, and the women made a video with my mother's picture and her name, and they sang a song dedicated to my mother, and they planted a tree in her name. And when the next time I went to Rwanda, I was so moved that women, you know, 7,000 miles away would be thinking of me. But when I went to Rwanda and I looked at them and I said, why are they acting so funny towards me? And they came over to me and they said, with the translator, we were so worried about you, we didn't know how you would be after losing your mother, and we were just so frightened. And I was so moved that women could care about each other so far away. And the model of working with these women was so successful that I decided to work in America. And I'm sure you know that for the last 6 years we've worked with ex-offenders in New Jersey. And these ex-offenders really are invisible. They leave prison and 70% of them go back to prison within the first 3 years. How do they even get a job? You know, it's so difficult for them to find employment once they have a record, and they have to go back to parole office and child care, and they have so much shame that they feel. But just like the women in Rwanda, they sat around a table and they started sharing stories about their lives with each other, and they started making jewelry. And the jewelry was like each bead represented hope to them, and the jewelry was so meditative that they actually said, maybe I could do something, maybe I could have a life. And so many of them went back to school, and so many of them started careers. And I can just tell you, Tanya worked for Supercuts, and she started her own hair weaving business. And Nicole works at UPS, and she got health insurance and custody, shared custody of her 2 children. Anyway, it's just very exciting to see firsthand, and I really believe that the best philanthropy, besides being a job, is very hands-on. You know, it's got to be person to person, because we really have to care about each other, and we have to care about how we can empower other women's lives. And really, that's why I started Same Sky. And the bracelets and the jewelry really represent hope for the women. And it's very nice to buy jewelry with purpose that makes an impact in someone else's life. So if you get a chance to look at the jewelry, please do. If you get a chance to buy something at Jonathan Adler, please do. But now I want to go to the main event, which is I can't tell you how excited I am that we have Mindy Grossman, someone I've admired for so many years with us tonight. She has made so many great strides as a role model for so many other women. Having been recognized for her outstanding accomplishments, Ernst & Young as one of the corporate innovators of the year, Fast Company's top 100 most creative people in business, Financial Times top 50 women in world business, and Forbes as one of the world's 100 most powerful women. You can understand the influence that Mindy Grossman has had on the world and why we're so thrilled that she's